When we were young, we read more often because we had to. It was the only way for us to get knowledge and to be enlightened. Read to your heart's delight and be enlightened. Let's just read. It's a podcast by Andy's Personal Development. Stay tuned for more reading and enlightenment.
Okay, so this is Andy live on Let's Just Read, and we have our man of the moment, Mr. MeShorn Daniels, the author of I Am Not Your Black America, here to share with us some insights and his vision, his experience on the topic of his publication, which he is proud of and really wants to highlight something about himself with regards to his place in the world. So, MeShorn, welcome. How are you doing today, my friend?
Hey, man, it is beautiful to be here with you and everything. And yes, sir, with all the things that are happening in the world today, I do believe, okay, that my conversation, a title of my book, it seems to, matter of fact, let me just keep going on. I've been getting everybody and their daddy been calling me and telling me, MeShorn, the title of your book, it seems to be just right on time. You know, all the things that's happening in Alabama. You heard about what's going on in Alabama, right? You know,
Yeah.
the little battle that took place down in Alabama. If only they would have not saw him as black and would have just went ahead, treated him like an American and treated him like someone that was an authority position and everything, we wouldn't even be having none of the situation that went on. Would you agree with that, Mike?
Yeah, that sounds pretty good, MeShorn. That sounds just about right. So I'm really curious. How did you become to known as Uncle MeShorn? Where did that come from?
Well, you go right in there. Well, that's a good question to ask. You know, it's a couple things. Okay, first of all, I guess the immediate is that you know the idea that Uncle Tom, okay, where that concept and everything come from. A lot of people call me an Uncle Tom because of my political views and how I see things. I see things from conservative. I'm not your traditional brother that's just decided that I'm just going to roll with the Democratic Party and everything. So I was being called an Uncle Tom, okay? And so it's a title in my book, you know, one of the chapters in my book called Uncle Tom.
Right.
And so where it came from, I had to educate people about Uncle Tom and what I wanted to let them know. I'm okay being Uncle Tom because Uncle Tom in the narrative, you know, Uncle, you know, you know the story about Uncle Tom, don't you?
Yeah, I know the story. I've heard the story several times.
Yeah, so you know, Uncle Tom is not the narrative that most people want to label him as. He actually is a good guy. Okay, he was trying to do some good stuff, and he actually died for not telling the slave owners who he were, who he had actually saved.
Right.
Everything. So that's where the actually it's kind of all started. But then here's the kind of the story. You know, as being a conservative, I went to visit my sister in Atlanta.
Yeah.
And again, we have come from a very dysfunctional family. I hadn't seen my sister in over 20 years, and she has some children. And I came down there, and I brought my mother and my wife me, and I rolled up in my Cadillac and everything. And then, you know, I'm coming in there, and she introduced me as Uncle MeShorn. Okay, so these are the first time I see my nieces and everything. So you know, I get there, and they needed to go to the grocery store, bam, I paid for stuff. They go to the movie, bam,
Yeah. Okay.
stuff there. They needed, need some pizza and everything. I made it rain and everything. So as we was driving back, I heard my nieces talking to my wife. Aunt Jackie, can we come to Kentucky and live with you? And my wife said, sure, baby, you can come live with us and everything. So we spent about 2-3 days there, Mike. And as we packing up, ready to leave and everything, Mike, I see a couple of my nieces got their bags packed and everything, because it turned out that, my sister was living in a 2-bedroom apartment with 5-7 kids and everything. So the two of the girls two of my nieces had decided they were going back home with Uncle MeShorn. So I got the Uncle MeShorn really planted in, because my wife said, baby, where y'all going? We going home with Uncle MeShorn and Aunt Jackie. And we said, oh no, y'all not. No. So that's got a lot of, where I initially started being called Uncle MeShorn and everything. And that's where it's all started. And then so I put it in my book and everything. And actually, it's been kind of catchy.
Yep, it is. I love the story, man. The family thing with the nieces and stuff. I love it. So MeShorn here, I want to read something for you, and I'm looking for perspective here.
Okay.
It says the irony was I wanted to learn how to be black.
Oh.
So I started hanging out with people, learning how to be black. Took me down some dark roads. I had to learn how to use profanities, how to drink, do drugs, talk swagger, and have multiple women. But that is not a realistic picture, is it?
No, it's not. No, it's not. I'm glad that you recognize it. Those are things that I had to do to hang out with these fellas that I was involved with. But the fact of the matter is that I discovered that the color of my skin didn't make me black. That's the real truth. What I'm letting folks understood is that I thought just the color of my skin is what made me black. And what I discovered, no sir, it was an attitude, it's a mentality, it's a behavior, it's ideology, it's the way that you conduct yourself and everything, and the way that you think that makes you black. And I remember hanging around these dudes and everything, and they came out, and they said, man, MeShorn, you not black. I was like, what do you mean? So yes. And then what's the irony of this is that once I had taken 3 to 4 years in the military and learned how to get my swag on, learn how to use colorful terminologies, and learn how to engage with the ladies in the way I did, and showing a little love and breaking hearts and everything. Once I had gotten all that down and everything, then I wanted to change my persona or my environment, and I want to become something new. When I was doing that, but then when I was a cook, and I initially joined the military, I was a cook in 1978. When I went into the military, I went through Fort Jackson, South Carolina, for basic training, and then went on to become a cook. But after I did my 3 to 4 years of being a cook, I wanted to change my MOS and do something different. Right. And so, being I was only 24 years old, I allowed my interest to be the reason why I wanted to go into the medical field. Yeah. My primary reason for wanting to go in the medical field was because the ladies are in the medical field. Do you feel me? So that was I have no shame that there was no other reason for me wanting to go into the medical field. And it was solely because I was wanting chased them. But what came out of it is that when it was time for me to change from being a cook to my profession that I actually retired from as a surgical technologist in the operating room, I discovered that I actually failed the ASVAB test.
Okay.
I didn't do as good as I thought I had done. And I remember the instructor, the recruiter, who was looking at my grades. He said, Sean, I don't know how you actually became a cook, because these scores that you scored with is so bad and everything that you shouldn't have been a cook. And so in the military, my scores, I should have been the infantry unit. I should have been front line, okay, expendable. That's where they put less educated. If I didn't, if I feel like I had nothing to benefit the military, then they will make you expendable. Right. And so what happened, so the rest of the story is, I'm going to jump so you know the rest of the story. I had to come back and find out, how did I become a cook? And I learned later, this is after I had already, got into being a surgical tech, but I had to come back to my parents before I actually tell you how I became a surgeon. Found out that my mother had convinced the recruiter to don't put her baby in an infantry unit.
Wow.
If you want our mother's love, man, that deep.
Yeah.
Ain't that deep? My mother saved me from going to an infantry unit. She told, if you want, because he was trying to fill some quota or whatever it is, she said, if you want my baby, you kind of promise me to put him in no infantry unit. So, story from my dad, he said, the rest of the story is that he didn't tell her that. He said, if I didn't pass cook school, I was going straight. I was going straight, no stop. But Fortunately, what took place, I did pass cook school and everything, and I didn't have to worry about it. But if I wanted to advance anywhere else, I had to change my score. So I had to retake the ASVAB score test. And I went to high school, and I actually did get my scores up to 91 and above and everything. You had to score 91 and above to get into the medical field. Okay. And I did. And so that's what got me into the medical field.
That's an amazing story, MeShorn. I thank you very much for sharing it with the level of passion that you did, which takes me to a quotation. Because you talk about making that switch, that change, and understanding and how to do it. The quotation says, don't allow yourself to be consumed by the environment that you're born into. It takes us loving ourselves to overcome it. You have to learn to unlearn and relearn who you are. How powerful is this story for young Black Americans, minorities?
Anybody.
Yeah, on the whole, to grasp the philosophy of what you're saying here.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. One of my publicists, and Lindsay, wants me to stay on target. And she said, one of the things that she did telling people about me is that I am not a person that wants to embrace these labels that we're born into. Okay. Yeah. Labels that we're born into that seem to consume or define people and keep them captured. And the deal is that what I discovered, it's not until you love yourself and feel that you can do better. You're not what somebody else says you are, okay? You're only who you are, what you say you are, okay? And what you say you want to be. And so it's not, but you can't get there until you what? Love yourself, okay? Yeah. And you can't love yourself superficially. You can't love yourself from what people box you in based on the outside. Somebody will box you in saying that just because of the color of your skin, that's who you are. No, I'm so much more than that, okay? And who I am is what I've overcome, what I've been through and everything, what I've seen and what I've come to recognize, and the epiphanies that I'm willing to actually explore and go down in everything, and the hardship of failure. Okay, the failures that I've actually have failed and still been able to pick myself up and move forward. That's who defend. That's who define. That's how you really truly define. Not I'm not Black America. I'm not that person that you think you're gonna box me in because when I walk in the door, you see the color of my skin and you already done box me into something that is not even who I am. Okay. But I really have to say this, man, you can't get there until you love yourself. You know, there's a terminology, I've heard this before and I didn't really understand it. Broken people can't fix themselves.
True. Yeah.
How strong that is.
Really strong.
Broken.
And there's an addition to that, MeShorn. Broken people are 99.9% of the times hurting people. And guess what? That's what they produce. More broken people and more hurt until they are healed themselves. So here's the question going forward. Do you see hope on the horizon? If you should just visualize the future, what do you see happening with the universal appeal to love? Just love. Forget color, forget creed, forget race, social position, whatever it is. Is there hope? Are you seeing any?
If you would have asked me that question before I wrote this book, I probably would have told you I see hopelessness before. Wow. But I want to tell you something. Ever since I wrote and written my book, the book served as a therapy. Therapy. But the book also was an opportunity for me to reflect and see things differently. Mm-hmm. And so to answer your question, okay, I am very hopeful of what the future is. I would never thought I would be saying, you know, as a person, when you read my book, I come from a very dysfunctional, come from a lot of hurt, come from a lot of craziness. And the idea that I was able to achieve and overcome in a kid from where I come from to write my book and my memoirs, okay, to say what I'm saying and now say that I'm hopeful. Yeah. That the future looks bright. Mankind. I can really say, but let me caution that and say, and it's in my book as well. That's why my book is written to the dominant European culture, the ones that actually, and not just the dominant European, but the people who are in control, okay? Yeah. Anyone who finds themselves in control, like there's a portion that they were talking about the parent gods, so, okay? I actually use that terminology, parent God, okay? People are like, what do you mean? Well, my parents was my first God before I knew who God was. I discovered God by understanding that my parents was God, okay? And if my parents failed the position of God, then how could I possibly ever believe in something that I can't even see? My own parents had failed as God. That's how God got my attention, man. God got my attention through the failure of my parents' failure, okay? Okay. And what I've been saying to people, this is what I'm cautioning people. If you are a parent, you are the first indication of God. Yeah. You destroy or make a child. That's right. Okay. That's you in the position of the God, okay? The child knows no other but you first. Yeah. I'm fortunate that God utilized my parents in the brokenness that they were operating in to get me to the awakening that God was there and was using me the whole time. Oh. So the point is is that the only reason I have a little hope is that to know that there is a God that loves you. And when you tap into that, there's love. That's love. There's the love. Okay.
Amen to that. You preach there, MeShorn. That's powerful. That's powerful. That's powerful. I love that. So let me put a little twist on what you're saying now, because I'm following you. And as I said before, I love the passion that you bring in your voice. African American was a terminology that was originated by Reverend Jesse Jackson, which actually was totally misleading. I'm going to stop there. How did people respond for you making that statement?
Well, first of all, it's the truth.
Okay.
Let's just every time someone come and ask me the question, I stop it. It's the truth. Okay. Because first of all, if you've never been to Africa, how are you going to identify yourself as African?
I get you.
I mean, let's just be honest, okay?
I get that.
You know, so that's how I answer that. I say, let's be honest, so okay, let's truthful, okay?
Yes.
So that's how I am. Yeah.
Okay, and it goes on to say, it would describe not my slave ancestors, but rather Africans who gain American citizenship, similar to terms such as Latin America,
yeah,
and Filipino American. And the label Negro was a Spanish term that was used in South America to differentiate between the natives and European immigrants. So what should every American person who was born, grew up in America, should be described as? What should they be called?
Oh, that's a beautiful question. That's a beautiful question. First of all, we need to put America first.
Okay.
Need to put America first. Like throughout my book, I'm proud to be an American.
Right.
But I'm uniquely American. I'm uniquely American from, that's why we say you have to unlearn to relearn. I am an American because I'm uniquely American because of the American slaves that were formed here on this soil. Yeah. So if you're born here in America, put America first. And if you want to honor or you want to give love or reference to culture or identity, then you can say, I'm born in America, but I'm an American. I'm an American. American Chinese. I'm American Latino. I'm American Britain. You can put, but you honor the country that you in. Like today, I'm willing to say now, I am an American descendant of slaves.
Okay.
I'm an American descendant of slaves. Okay.
Yeah.
I want to honor my ancestors that made this country what it is. Have shame that. And I believe that is the problem with culturally with us born here. We've been shamed to see ourselves Black. And so we have no connection to our ancestors because we don't want to be associated with slave because we've been always considered slave as the negative. We've always treated as negative, but there's no shame to acknowledge that you are a descendant of American slaves. Right. America would not be what it is today had not the slaves been used for private labor and the wages never paid their wages and the blood and shit. Matter of fact, let me just go all the way in, dude. What took place in Montgomery, Alabama?
Yeah.
That right there, that river port.
Yes.
Slaves came through there, dude. I just saw an interview where it was beautiful to see an American European male bring this reference. And he said he'd been having a lot of his people been saying, what do they mean not on this dock? We just find that in here on this dock. And he broke it down. He said, I don't think y'all understand. What you witness here is that the Blacks, he said, was honoring their ancestors. They said, you are not gonna disrespect them. I get emotional. You are not gonna disrespect them. Not here on me, Doc. No, sir. No, sir. You might want to take that somewhere else. Not here on these dots. You're not about to do that. That's deep, man. That's giving honor to those who already sacrificed for you to be here. And you think we're gonna sit back and allow you to disrespect us on these dots? Oh, you done made that up. You like that?
That's right. Wow. Wow. Wonderful, 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 MeShorn. So we're coming to the end of this amazing interview, but I have to go somewhere, and it's prolific. I want you to tell our people, our audience, how does your vision, now that we understand the foundational philosophy behind the book, why you wrote it, who you want to get the message and how you want them to get the message, how you want them to see the message. But here's the thing. How does what you say in the book, representative of your philosophy, from your personal experience, align with that of what was said by the late, great Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., particularly, I have a dream?
Well, I really like you, Mike. You really ask the right questions, and you really draw right into my spirit. So it's funny. I met multiple people so far who said that they decided to start at the end of my book. I said, why are you starting at the end of my book?
Yeah.
I said, because MeShorn, we wanted to know where you're going. We wanted to know before we started, to know how you ended. And I like, wow, because I had never heard anyone say, oh, I read at the beginning, at the end, I started at the end of your book. Yeah. And so at the end of my book, I said, wow, then if you read the end of my book, then you understand that I am talking about moving forward. Okay. Right. Yeah. Okay. Then I'm talking about making America better than it's ever been. Okay. I'm talking about taking the things that we did, things that we keep telling ourselves that America was great again, but we keep telling how great America was. And I say America could not have been great if 100% of America wasn't on board and participating the country that it is. But we can talk about how great America can be now moving forward, and can be now because everybody can now contribute and participate in this great development of America. And so that is my belief, that what Martin Luther King was specifically talking about. I have a dream, okay, yes, that one day my children, okay, and children of slaves and,
yes,
and children of former slave owners will one day sit at the table of brotherhood. But that dream doesn't come about until we work at it. You
That's
gotta
right.
work at it. It ain't just gonna come together by words. It ain't gonna come together just by in church. It gotta come through work. You know, in the acronym for work, which is in my book, the acronym for work is W, wisdom. We gotta apply our wisdom into our work.
Yes.
It's gonna come through our opportunities. Oh,
yes,
you know, opportunities that we have. It's gonna come to 2 R's, respect and responsibility that we give to our work, okay? And then the next thing, then after we have the wisdom, after we have the opportunities, after we apply the respect and the responsibility, then we gain knowledge to pass it on to the next generation. And that's the beauty of what I believe. And everyone that I've already spoken to that have read my book, which it was my intent, he said, man, you wrote your book, but you never gave it the end. The end is in each and every one of us who read my book. You get to put the end to it, not me. I said in my book, I may be ending this but the end is not here. The end is what you make it.
Right.
Okay. It's not the end. It's just where I stop.
Okay.
Like the show. It's just where we stop.
Oh, goodness. What an amazing note to conclude this amazing episode. And we had such a wonderful time just going down memory lane and then looking at the future with such hope and
Yes.
anticipation of a better world that we can all have the equal opportunity we deserve from the moment we were created. That's magnanimous. So I'm just going to put you on the spot a little bit here, MeShorn, as we look to close out. It's basically 3 questions. You have choice of one or the other answer, and then you're going to tell me why you answered. So for you, your favorite pastime as far as sport is concerned, is it the NBA or the NFL?
NFL.
NFL, why?
Primarily because I grew up on NFL growing up in Miami, and I went to the NFL. I've never been to an NBA. I've been to an NFL, and I enjoyed the energy of that environment. So that's why I said NFL, because I've never been to an NBA arena, never been to any, but I have been to an NFL as a child, and so I said NFL.
Okay, sounds pretty good to me. Okay, food time. Would it be ham and cheese or peanut butter and jelly sandwich?
Peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
Oh, that was quick. You didn't take no time at all.
Because I'm a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. I just went and bought bread yesterday so I can make peanut butter and jelly sandwich. That's how I'm a peanut butter and jelly sandwich eater. I was brought up on that, and I love butter and jelly.
Great. Okay, what about vehicles? BMW or Mercedes-Benz?
Would you say again?
BMW or Mercedes-Benz?
Neither.
Ah!
Neither. I'm an American made, dude.
European, not in European.
Neither. I'm American made. I got a Cadillac.
Yeah, you Lincoln. Yeah. I love it, bro. I love it. I love it. So, MeShorn, you need to tell folks how they can get your book if they need to get in touch with you, your website, how they can get you to come speak at the engagements and stuff like that. Just share your stuff with them, your social handles.
Yeah, no problem. The first thing is you got to spell my name correct. MeShorn, MeShorn, the one and only. You can visit my website, Uncle MeShorn. Okay. You can also visit my website. It's www.iamnot.black. You can get there as well. You can Google me, spell my name right, MeShorn. And what's so great about my new book is that with my new publisher, I self-published initially, but now I have a publisher that has made my book a hardcover. That is the new thing. We are right now on Amazon and Barnes & Noble. You get my book right now, hardcover. I was audio, we're redoing the audio, so you got to wait for the audio to come out. And Kindle, we got to wait for that to come out. But right now, you can order my book hardcover, and I'm excited about that. I have the printed, but I'm waiting to get my hardcover and everything, because I never in my life, thought that I would have a book hardcover, and I was educated about the principle of hardcover. So anybody who knows the hardcover, you would appreciate how honored I feel to have my book, I'm Not Your Black America, in hardcover.
Yeah, wonderful. Folks, there you have it. We are so thankful to MeShorn Daniels for taking the time to come on our program. Let's just read and talk about his publication, I Am Not Your Black America. You have to read this book to understand where he's coming from, his philosophy, his experiences, his belief, and his vision for the future, holistically and from a universal perspective. This brother has got it to the core. He understands how this world needs to function. And the important thing he said is learn to love yourself.
Amen.
You start with that, things gonna fall into place. So Until next time, this is Andy with our guest, MeShorn Daniel, saying so long, folks. Godspeed, shalom to you. Have a wonderful time. And remember, read more to get enlightened and stay up to date on the information that is necessary for you to become a better and more informed person. Until next time, this is Andy saying, so long, Godspeed, God bless, shalom, namaste. Bye for now.